All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. You guys demanded it, and you are getting it. Now, I have to apologize. Yesterday was the 4th of July here in the U.S., so I was busy all day long. First thing I did when I got up yesterday morning is I actually went and saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny for the third time. Went with my dad as well as my two youngest, and everybody loved it, and it gets better with every viewing. But that's for another video. There hasn't been a whole lot going on with DC, but I do have some photos to show you. We're going to look at The Flash's updated box office and what is happening with The Flash moving forward. Coming up later this month, as a matter of fact, we're going to look at a few other things. But as of right now, the state of the DCU is not good, and I don't see it getting better anytime soon. Warner Brothers really is not even promoting Blue Beetle. They have a few promotional things, but they're not heavily promoting it like they did The Flash. They've learned that no matter what kind of money they pump into the advertising, that these movies are doomed. And they keep saying that this film is tied with this film is tied with that, until it bombs, and then they push it off to the next film. Like they're saying now that The Flash could be part of the DCU, but it failed, so now they're saying the start of the DCU is with Blue Beetle. But we all know it really doesn't happen until Creature Commandos, which is the first official DCU project, and we have yet to see how that's going to fit in. But I do have a few photos to show you guys today. Not very many, but I have a few. So let's take a look. Now, this is something I certainly hope is not true. This individual called the Disc Father supposedly did a podcast and had Henry Cavill on there. And nobody has been able to confirm this because they can't seem to find the podcast. And several people have asked him for it, and he hasn't given it out. So I think I'm calling BS on this, and I'll talk about my feelings on this, but it says, the Disc Father podcast, Henry Cavill admitted that there is a big disagreement between him and James Gunn over the portrayal of Superman, which I do believe could have happened. And I do believe that I'm now beginning to think that Henry Cavill did walk away from James Gunn rather than, sticking around. Same kind of thing happened with Ben Affleck. He didn't want to have anything to do with James Gunn's DCU. And I think that people are moving away from it, that they don't want to have any part of it. He goes on to say, where Cavill had a vision more focused on iconizing the character, Gunn would like to make him a comical and awkward character who would have a poo fetish, according to his words, as the Peacemaker series implies. I sure hope this is not true. This is where I tend to think that this is bull crap, and if it is true, then yeah, there's going to be a problem in the DCU. So if he goes full Peacemaker with this and makes Superman an awkward character who does have a poo fetish, this is over before it even begins. And this is the part that makes me think this is fake. They finished with finally a faithful representation of the character. The answer will be in 2025 with Superman Legacy. And that's if the film ever gets released. Again, that's 2 years away. They're still in the middle of this strike with no end in sight. And this may never get off the ground. I still don't know who's going to be willing to fund this with the failure of all the movies going on. And it looks like Blue Beetle is also headed for failure as well. Now, this is one of those things I just found funny. It says Dwayne Johnson is having a laugh at James Gunn's The Flash implodes. May not even reach Black Adam's 393 box office collection. And it's not going to. We are going to take a look at the numbers here in a minute. And I've said this before. Black Adam was the first movie that people started going back to with DC since Aquaman. People started to get interested. They announced Henry Cavill was back, and this was without a China release that it made almost $400 million. So that's pretty dang good for a movie that didn't get a China release. And people are going to come in and say that James Gunn had nothing to do with The Flash. He certainly did, especially when you hear about the endings, the 3 endings that were shot. He specifically put Clooney at the end. He talked about passing notes to the other directors in the other films. James Wan even confirmed that because of the meddling by the studio, which would include James Gunn, that he's not even sure what version of the movie is getting released and that it's a mess. So James Gunn has had his hand in all of this. And I don't care if people say he came on after the fact. It doesn't matter. He is in there creating problems. So let's talk about The Flash. First of all, they announced last week that The Flash DVD and Blu-ray release date is estimated for September of 2023, but available on digital HD from Amazon Video and iTunes, Vudu, and other sources on July 18th of 2023. Now, I personally hate this. I am a physical media individual, and I may be expanding my channel in a little bit, doing tutorials on how to compress video and how to rip Blu-rays and DVDs and that sort of a thing. I may start showing how to do that so you can have that stuff on a media server. I use Plex and MB and other stuff. If you guys are interested in learning how that stuff is done, I'd be interested in possibly making some tutorials on that stuff. But I'm a physical media person because you can never trust digital. Digital can go away in a heartbeat. I'm all about physical media. And so I don't like it that they have that much of a gap between the digital and the actual Blu-ray release. I get 4K Blu-rays. I believe this is what fuels, I believe these kinds of decisions actually fuel piracy online, which I don't like. And so it's unfortunate, but it's the significant thing here is how quickly this is coming to digital. July 18th. That's pretty dang fast. That's just in a few weeks. So it's coming fast. They want to try to maximize the money because their box office is pretty much done. And that's what we're going to look at next. So this is from Box Office Mojo. And you can see that June 14th was the release date, for The Flash. And by June 18th, or July 18th, it's already going to be on digital. This is the domestic opening, and this is the most current information. I just pulled this off of Box Office Mojo right before I did this video. And you can see that domestically, it has finally broken $100 million here in the U.S. That's pretty bad. And internationally, it's made $146 million. So its total take is $246,856,000. That's pretty sad. Especially, and this is with a China opening. When you consider that Black Adam never made it to China, and it made almost $400 million, that's pretty bad. This goes back to what I've been talking about. People have turned their back on DC because of what the studios have done. Henry Cavill was liked more as Superman than most people think. It wasn't just Snyderverse or DCEU fans that cared for him. It was mainly the general audience as well. Now that he's gone, this is going to cause problems for the studio. I don't see anything good in the future. So those are the only things I've been able to grab because there isn't a whole lot of information being floated around in regards to DC right now. James Gunn is being kind of quiet. In my last video, I talked about the whole Comic-Con. And with the Comic-Con, I told people that he wasn't going to go there because they are kind of shying away from it. And people got on my case saying no one's going. I do believe it is still happening, but I don't think DC is going to be there. And some people are even reporting it's because he doesn't want to get booed or annoyed by the fans heckling him, which is a very real possibility. And he's got a lot on his shoulders. I personally would not want to be James Gunn right now. Because of the backlash, there's a lot of eyes on him with everything that's possibly happening with Safran. And, he may not be far behind if these things don't perform. Because I do believe that they announced this reboot prematurely, which made the last 4 films irrelevant. And we already saw the box office bomb that was Shazam. And we've already seen the box office bomb that was The Flash. These films just tanked at the box office. And it's funny after coming after Black Adam because Black Adam made way more money than either of those 2 films. And what was the one factor that changed? The fact that they brought Henry Cavill back, announced his return, fired him, brought James Gunn in, and announced a reboot. You're not going to tell me that people lost interest because of Black Adam. It has nothing to do. That film was the film that people were actually interested in and wanted to go see, and then the studio mucked it all up. And so I think we're going to see a decline with DC for quite a while, and I will be covering all of it. So stick to my channel, and you're going to get all kinds of content. I have lots of things I have planned for the future. I am finally looking at branding and some other things. So if you haven't already, like the video, share it, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you will be notified as I have new videos go up.